As a consumer, have you ever asked yourself, how does the artist get paid? One piece of legislation that has been reviewed by Congress is the Performance Rights Act. Per an article from the New York Law School, the Performance Rights Act requires broadcast radio stations to pay royalties to artists and labels to play their sound recordings. For artists, this is a fantastic way to even out the playing field. At the present time, broadcast radio stations only pay the songwriters music royalties. These individuals are usually contracted with major record labels. However, digital radio stations, per the American Association of Independent Music, have to pay the musicians and labels that perform the recorded music. Artists like Raven Capone, who has been in the independent music industry, making it his official business for over 6 years, believes that the Performance Rights Act is a must-needed injection of
100%
untapped
it's good
revenue.
for independent artists, because a lot of independent artists are actually out here putting their last dimes into their dreams. And if this whole organization can help bring something back, I'm all the way for it. Count me in.
As far as me, what I plan to do, I plan to, get a count of, all the plays and spins that I've had, on these different sites and, internet radio, there's different places that my music has been played. And, because I have, my business is taken care of. I'm not somebody that's just out here making music that doesn't have a rap.
You got to know what came. It's just like before Michael Jordan, it was a Dr. J. Wow. So somebody had to open the door. Don't think the door just opened because you walked in there. I remember back in the days, and I wanted to tell them too, when saying the people back in that era didn't like rap. They were scared of rap. And we wasn't cursing. So you think of how we had to fight to open the door. They didn't play rap, but Houdini was one of the groups that made them play rap because we came with that R&B feel, and we came with something you can relate to that was positive. And the main thing I always say, y'all do what y'all do, we do what we do. It's always gonna be a market for us to eat, but you see how long y'all can last and eat. We've been in the game 30 years, don't have a record out right now, but we're still on tour.
One way artists are receiving royalties and sales are through ASCAP. According to an article by Gary McIntyre, ASCAP stands for American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers. They have been in business since 1914. ASCAP has conventions yearly to train independent artists and labels on how to promote and sell their music without the help of major record labels. Billboard magazine states that in 2012, indie music sales surpassed those of major music industry by 8.7%. Forbes magazine stated that there are two scenarios that can possibly come into play if the Performance Rights Act was to be implemented. The first one is the radio stations would bite the bullet and accept their loss in revenue. The second would be for them to get rid of some radio stations and just keep the most profitable one. JB's, an independent artist from Columbus, Ohio, who has been in the independent music industry for about 5 years, feel this can really help the artists achieve their goals. We live in a digital world, and it's hard to tell if album sales are due to broadcast radio or the internet. Targetspot.com, a company who did a survey on internet listeners and broadcast listeners, stated that there is a decline in broadcast radio listeners from ages 18 to 24. Even though music sales for major record labels are declining, they still make more money than the independent record labels and artists. One way this can change is if the Performance Rights Act is implemented. The act will cause some major changes on procedures and how much it costs to do business in the music industry in the long run. However, it will pay the artists who created the music for their work when it's played on the air.